Hello, I've got for you today Montblanc's Coal Blue, released with their Around the World in 80 Days. So let's have a look and compare it against their other so-called blues. I'm quite sure this is going to be very gray, but we'll see. So I have here a booklet of different types of paper. I'm very keen to add Montblanc's new quick dry paper to this list. We'll see if we do that eventually. Basically a way of knowing how the various inks will behave on various types of paper. I think that's a necessary step to take if you're trying to show what the ink behaves like on various papers. So everything in here, wow, 80 Days Blue, so they do already have an 80 Days Blue. Or is that the same one? That's actually very curious. I'm not too sure if it's the same. I don't think this is the same. I would have called it Coal. They've got an 80 Days Blue, and their azures, some greens, and then the yellows and pinks. So let's see, I'm going to put it here next to the Van Gogh because it feels somewhat like that. Would that be accurate? We'll find out in a minute. It's not a clear blue, it's not a clear turquoise, somewhere in the between. So let's have a look. Not a bad blue. Very dark. And then let's get a pen charged with it. A trusty 145. And then we'll call it Coal. Let's put them all down and I'll give you a close-up in a minute. On the bottom of the bottles, you'll usually find a sticker that will tell you if the ink has a different name or a different number other than the one used to describe the ink. When you put the cap back on this one, we're gonna have a look at that and see if it matches the Van Gogh. It does have a slight turquoise look to it when I look at it in the bottle. So we've got natural daylight here. It's a bit of a cloudy day, but the bulbs are all supposed to be natural daylight. So much darker than their Van Gogh. A lot of black, darker pigment in here. Curious to see how it fades with time. Some of their darker inks do tend to behave slightly differently after they've dried, and they bleach quite a bit more than some of their other inks. So let's see their Coal Blue. Around the World in 80 Days, Coal Blue. I can't see that as anything other than a very poor substitute for black. Or is that just me? I don't see any color in there at all. So the poster paper tend to be coated with calcium carbonate, and I think one is, and the other one has a different type of coating. I think this is the calcium carbonate one. Let's see. Can't tell. I think it's this one. And that gives you a pretty loyal look at the color. Then would be the Clairefontaine up here, which is also quite a nice quite a nice paper to use to get an accurate description of the color. Montblanc's notebook papers tend to be a bit more on the yellow side, and, well, office paper tends to be the one that leads to the most degradation of the color. Even right away here you can see there's already a bit of fading of the color there. A lot more feathering, of course, too. So, not a bad ink, I think. Is that true? No, I'm lying. This feels like an ink that I really don't need or want. Free gifts, of course, are nice, but I don't know. Am I going to use this? I'm glad I didn't charge the pen. Would you need it? If you really need a desaturated, faded black, dark gray, maybe, but I don't know. I'm not happy to have that in my book. It's not a color at all. Okay, well, there you go. Quick review of their Coal Blue Around the World in 80 Days.